We're going to talk about how you're going to go about paying your virtual assistants in this video. And there's some important things to know that a lot of people overlook. So I'm sure that everybody has a PayPal account. And normally when we pay virtual assistants, we will just at first send through PayPal, if it's a test project or something. But once you're having them work full time or on a concurrent basis, you're going to want to use a different service because PayPal has some crazy fees that either you are going to have to eat or your virtual assistant. My guess is if they're abroad, they're not making that much. So you want to give them that full amount that you're actually paying them. So if you're going to be sending money to them on PayPal, here's what the fees look like. So we take a look right here. When you're sending money across borders, you pay 0.3 to 2% of the total transaction amount. There's a fixed fee, and then there's also the exchange rate, which is 2.5 to 3% on top. Now this starts to add up and ends up being about 2.8 to 5%. Now if you're using a debit or a credit card also on top of this, they'll add another 3%. So that could make it end up being 5% to 8%. That's a lot. It's almost 10%. Well, I guess it's only half of 10%, but it's a lot of money. Okay, so we're going to teach you how to get 1/10 of that fee. So what we're going to suggest that you use to pay your virtual assistants is going to be TransferWise. So the other option is also OFX. They're both about the same rates, but you'll actually save a little bit more if you're sending about $5,000 or less by going with TransferWise. And they have a nice user interface and they have a lot of currency transfer pairs. Now, if you've already signed up for OFX, then you could still go ahead and use that. So the way you're going to save money is by using international currency transfer. So these companies are specifically working with banks all around the world, and they hold currencies in every single country, so they're able to transfer at a much cheaper rate than these other institutions. The other institutions could do it at a cheaper rate, but they know they can just make money like PayPal and banks. So you're going to either use TransferWise or OFX. Instead of paying that 5 to 8% fee, you pay about a half to a 1% fee. It's a lot better. So I suggest that you guys use this. I'll make it real easy for you guys right now. So if you're going to be sending $5,000 or less, you're going to want to go with TransferWise. And then if you're going to spend $5,000 or more, you're going to go with OFX. So essentially, OFX is for sending money to suppliers cross-currency or accepting international payments from Amazon or other e-commerce merchants. And then TransferWise is going to be for those nice little payments to virtual assistants across the world. So hope that this was helpful. And this is important because they're not making as much in these other parts of the world. And you don't want to be spending a large part of those fees towards that because you have agreed on a rate, and why be paying that to the banks and not paying it to them? And it's also going to make them demotivated and not as happy because that's a big pay cut to them. So just go ahead and sign up for both of these. Actually, I suggest because one could go down, probably not, but it's nice to have both options. So TransferWise for sending those small, fast ones, and then OFX for sending those larger payments, because there is a $25 fee with OFX, but and there's not with TransferWise, but you get a better percentage with OFX. So yeah, bigger payments OFX and the smaller ones TransferWise. So one last thing, it takes about a week to get these. So I suggest you guys go sign up right now because the initial sign up process is really fast. They just have to verify some documents because they're doing international currency transfers and that's the law. But I didn't do this initially and it cost me a whole bunch of money. I needed to send money all of a sudden and I just didn't have an account. So I was struggling and trying to get it fast. And I ended up losing a couple $1,000s because I didn't have it set up in time. So don't make the mistake that I did. Go and sign up for both of them or just one of them. And yeah. Hope that this is helpful, and don't be paying useless fees to banks.